Welcome to Everyday Fitness, the podcast where fitness is for everyone, not just athletes. I'm Mark D'Alessio, joined by my co-host Jared Evans, professional trainer and fitness author. Every week, we'll share practical workouts, nutrition tips, expert advice, and real conversations to help you get healthier and stronger, no matter where you're starting from. Whether you're just beginning your fitness journey or looking for some new motivation, we're here to help you move better, feel better, and live better. This is Everyday Fitness, real fitness for real people. Let's get started.
Walking is great. Do not count that as exercise.
I'm so glad you said that. It is the strange. I don't know when that started.
I don't know either. And if we don't challenge the way,
I feel it's like the last 5 or 8 years. Like, so walking is exercise? What the hell is that?
This is activity of daily living.
Right, like humans walk.
Exactly.
Like, that's not exercise.
Exactly.
Like, talk about the lowest possible standard. Like, I don't.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
First of all, I don't know if anyone's seen it. That guy, I've seen him online before. He talks about how he divided his day up. Instead of having 7 days in the week, he divides his day into 3 8-hour increments. So he has 56 days in the week. He's a moron, right? He's a meathead. He's a moron. Walking is absolutely exercise. I mean, it's great. There's so many positive benefits from it. The one thing he uses, and I'll let you just judge what he says, well, walking is something you do in everyday life. Well, you pick things up in everyday life, and you go upstairs in everyday life. Yes, of course. It's the quantity, right? Okay, yeah, you walk from your couch to the refrigerator. That's not walking. You go on a 3-mile walk in here in Houston in the heat. That's exercise. I mean, I'll let you have it, but as an idiot. Sorry.
No, he is an idiot. I don't know what his deal is, if he's trying to sell courses or something.
Yeah.
I've never looked into the guy, but I have seen the video you're talking about where he talks about, I think he said he gets 3 days in one day.
Yes.
Because he has 8 hours is a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next 8 hours is another day.
His famous line at the end says he's bent time, and don't look at him like he's crazy. We're the ones that are crazy. Yes. Yeah.
That one other influencer always makes fun of it. Yeah. You got a 10x that.
Yes.
So walking is definitely exercise. It's something that you can make as intense or as easy as you want. If you're walking at an easy pace indoors where there's air conditioning, like at the mall, then maybe that's not exercise for somebody that's like us, that's fairly fit. Mm-hmm. But maybe for somebody else that is really overweight, maybe they have some kind of breathing condition, they have OCPD or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could be very taxed by that. 20 steps could be, extreme exertion. But then if you have somebody that's more fit and you say, okay, let's make walking your exercise or part of it, you can throw on a weight vest and do a ruck, and you can go up and down hills and you can walk fast, and suddenly it becomes a lot more challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, I would say to everyone watching, right, the reason Jared and I are doing this, it's fitness for everyday people, right? Walking is great. If you're just starting out, walk as Jared said, if you're a little bit more experienced, you can put a weighted vest on. You can do a treadmill with an incline. But we'll end this part by saying walking is absolutely exercise.
Yeah.
One myth down.
Yeah.
This episode, we're going to look at some of we'll call them the nasty myths in fitness that just won't die. They keep rearing their ugly head. We'll give you our opinion on it. Hope you enjoy the show. Jared, number one, and this is one that you hear a lot. You hear a lot of it from women too, probably more so than men, but we're going to go into it. I don't want to lift because I don't want to get bulky. Right? Have you heard that one before?
Oh yeah, so many times. Definitely more from women. I don't think as much from men, but some. Right. Yeah, some men are also, in that same mindset. Like, they don't want to get bigger; they just want to be toned. And I wish it was that easy, because I've been trying to get bulky for years, for decades, yes. And it's way harder than you think. But even if you want to just get toned, if you want to be, lean and have a chiseled physique, you have to strength train and you have to lift heavy, because that's what stimulates muscle fiber the best. Now, you can lift lighter weights and get good results too, but you have to still work hard is the ultimate, the answer. If you're not pushing yourself, then you're not going to get crazy big. And even if you are lifting really heavy and hard, you still have to do it for years and years to build a lot of muscle mass. And you have to have your diet on point. And to an extent, you also have to have good genetics. The best bodybuilders who have tons of muscle mass also are all genetic elite. Mm-hmm. They're in the top 1%. If somebody that trains just as hard as Arnold did and had the same program and even all the same gear that he was on could be far short of reaching his physique because they just don't have the right genetics, the muscle belly. They don't have the right muscle fiber type, the right insertion points, and all these other things that affect how big you can get. So if you're a woman thinking, I don't want to lift because I don't want to look like a man, that's not going to happen. You don't have the right hormones, the balance of hormones of testosterone to estrogen and bone density and all these other factors that will allow you to get crazy big like a man, unless you're, one of those rare genetic outliers. There are some women out there that are naturally way more muscular and can achieve more muscle mass than the average man. But that's not the norm.
Yeah, no. I laughed when you said about it. I wish it was that easy because yes, I've been trying for a long time to get bulky as well.
Right.
I think a couple of misconceptions with that. First of all, again, I think we talked about this on our first episode with who you see out there in the fitness world, the influencers and the podcasters. A lot of them are not natural. Now, we're not going to name names to get in trouble here, but you're seeing a lot of people who are using are chemically enhanced. Let's put it that way. So keep that in mind when you see some of these folks who you think, oh, I don't want to look like that. The other one is, Jared, this is, I think, when we first started working together, one of the misconceptions that I had was, well, cardio is how you lost weight and weightlifting gave you strength. But really, and I'd like you to touch on this, the fact that having more muscle enables you to burn calories, increases your metabolism. Therefore, the weight training is going to actually help you lose weight or at least stay in better shape without getting bulky, right?
Yeah. When you have more muscle mass, you're going to burn some more calories all the time, even when you're resting or asleep. It's kind of like having a bigger engine in a car or a truck. If you park a big V8 truck next to a little, like a 3-cylinder Geo Metro, and they're just idling, the truck is burning more gas, just sitting there doing nothing. It's the same thing with muscle, basically. If you have more muscle on your frame, you're going to burn more calories all the time. Your base metabolic rate is higher because muscle is active tissue. It requires energy just to maintain it. And that's a small factor, but it is a factor. And I think the other thing that's more important in terms of health that a lot of people don't think about is you become more insulin sensitive when you have more muscle mass. There's a bunch of stuff that's kind of interesting coming out about having more muscle mass and how that affects your health with ways that we are only starting to understand. But a big one, I think, is insulin sensitivity. Your ability to process, break down, store sugar is way better when you have more muscle mass. So you are more resistant to getting diabetes and having other health issues if you have more muscle, because you can pull that sugar out of your blood and store it in the muscle as glycogen. And then you can use it for fuel when you're doing exercise or any activity that requires, muscle contraction.
Perfect. Yeah. So there you have it. First myth, it won't make you bulky lifting. If you have questions or thoughts, certainly you have the internet as an option online. If you go to a gym, you can access the trainer, or you can reach Jared at everythingbutthegym.com and get in touch with him, and he'll get you on a program that gets you straight. So yeah, glad to put that one to rest.
Absolutely.
This next one has been around as long as I've been working out. So this is old. It's old. Cardio kills gains. And the one I heard also was cardio. If you do cardio after you lift, you lose your pump fast. There's been a whole bunch of these that it burns muscle. And this is really important because I think a good balance, a good balance. So you're working out is right, having a weight training and cardio together. So we want to dispel this myth. Jared, where can you tell these people out there about this ridiculous myth?
Yeah, this one's a little tricky. There is some truth to it, as all myths do, I think. I think it really comes from the world of bodybuilding, and just meatheads being so focused on gaining as much muscle as possible, trying to optimize everything, trying to just build as much muscle as humanly possible. So if you're doing any kind of cardio, you're going to have a little bit harder time building the maximum amount of muscle you can. But it's not really that cardio is hurting you so much as it's taking some energy and time away from the work that you could put into weightlifting. Right. So there's that. If you're trying to build muscle but also be healthy, be a well-rounded person, cardio is going to help you more than it's going to hurt you. It's going to help you with your cardiovascular fitness, of course, but also you're going to be afraid to do any kind of sport, I think, if you have this mentality that you're going to lose your gains by doing cardio. Because so many things are cardio besides running on a treadmill. Like rock climbing that we both do has a cardio element. All kinds of martial arts, cycling, kayaking, all kinds of things. Sure. So if you carry that mindset, you're going to be afraid to do anything other than lift. And I think that's going to limit you in terms of what kind of stuff you can do. And you're going to be in way worse shape. You're not going to be able to do anything that requires any sort of stamina if you only train weights. But if you can train some cardio, you're going to be able to, I think, actually build more muscle in some cases because you're going to have better stamina and recovery. And that helps you in the gym to be able to recover faster between sets and more completely, so you can train harder, train more frequently, and be more recovered between consecutive workout days. And you're just going to be a better overall athlete, outside of the fact that, it is a good way to also chip away at body fat so you look leaner. And when you're leaner, you look bigger too. Yep. You just have to pick cardio that you can recover from. Yeah. So the thing about cardio that is true about it limiting your gains is if you're doing very extensive, high intensity types of cardio, that can make your body want to shed muscle to make that task easier. So long distance running is an easy example. So if you're doing long distance running, slow pace, your body is doing the same motion over and over and over again. Your body is going to be able to do that task easier if you're lighter. Yep. And muscle is heavy. If to go a long distance slowly over at least flat terrain, your body doesn't need that much muscle. If you look at distance runners, guys that do marathons, they tend to be fairly lean and skinny, right? Mm-hmm. Because your body doesn't need that much muscle to do that. Our bodies are very efficient at propelling ourselves forward on two feet, whether it's walking or running. So your body will say, okay, I'm going to adapt to this activity by getting as light as possible. This extra muscle, we don't need it. But that's an example of a specialization in a sport that your body is adapting to. So if you're just somebody that's trying to get fit, an everyday person, running, even if you are running once or twice a week, for a few miles is not enough for your body to say, okay, we're going to get rid of all extra muscle and just be this skinny runner build, Yeah, no, that makes sense. 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week of strength training, 1 or 2 days of some type of cardio. It's kind of what I recommend to a lot of people for overall fitness. You're gonna build muscle. You're gonna look good. You're gonna have cardio. You're not gonna just shrivel up from a little bit of that. If you are worried about it, you can bias towards a little bit more safety of not losing muscle by doing something that's really low intensity, but still get your heart rate up a little bit, like walking. Back to what we were talking about before, especially doing it with some resistance. So either an incline on a treadmill or walk hills or put a weight vest on. Now it's kind of this hybrid of strength and cardio, but it's not high impact, and your body still needs strength to do it. So your body wants to maintain the muscle mass. So high intensity can reduce your muscle mass over time if you do too much of it. But the examples we gave of the program, 1 or 2 cardio days a week, you're not gonna do that. So yeah, that's what I recommend to people. Do some cardio because it's going to make you more overall fit. You'll be able to recover better in the gym and between your workout days, and you'll just be a more well-rounded human.
Yeah, no, perfect. And on that one little side part of the cardio, it's kind of the cardio, this concept of fasted cardio allows you to lose weight quicker, as opposed. Is there really a position on that you think, yeah, one way or the other, or is just do cardio whenever you do cardio? Don't worry about whether you fasted or not.
Yeah, that kind of goes into a diet area too. Fasting as a general practice is just a way to control your calories. I know there's some other things going on there. If you're one of these, health maxer people, body hacker type of people, when you're fasting, you're in a state where your cells are repairing more than they're turning over. So I think there's some research there to show that for longevity, you can maximize some things by having more fasting in your life. But I think you're getting into the weeds at that point, and it's the minutia that gives you the extra 1 or 2% of an increase towards that goal, versus most people have not even gotten the low hanging fruit, so to speak, of just not having, pizza and wings 3 times a week and, a Monster energy drink every morning. Like, focus on that before you're worried about like your fasting windows.
Yes, and cardio.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Yeah. So fasting before your workout is not really going to make that much of a difference. And it's something that everybody should experiment with, though, I think, because you might feel better on an empty stomach doing your cardio, or you might feel better if you have something in your system first. I find with my experience of being a trainer, all the people I've worked with, which is hundreds of people at this point in my life, it's so varied that I don't think you can say everybody should do X. Like, you have to test it. If you feel better when you do your cardio fasted, then do it. It's not going to make a huge difference from a scientific standpoint of you're going to burn more muscle or burn more fat, because you're going to replace the calories that you burned after that run when you eat, versus if you did it before, it's not going to make a huge difference. So do what feels better is my advice.
That's it. Like, no one size fits all. It's whatever works for you. So we've gone through 2 myths. This next one is one that, again, I've been hearing for a long time, and as I get older, I kind of understand this one, and definitely want to make sure we touch on it. The no pain, no gain. And let's talk about the difference also between pain and just natural soreness. Okay. Jared knows, as you know, Jared's my trainer. I've been working out with him for 4 years now. I don't know if you can see it, but I've been having a little problem with my knee the last couple weeks. I've had a bad shoulder, right? Today we were doing something. I said, Jared, it hurt. There was pain. We went right on and said, nope, let's do something else. So I think, Jared, this is probably one you get sick of hearing, but this whole no pain, no gain. And maybe talk about what difference between what pain is and then maybe just, of course, natural soreness when someone starts training for the first time.
Yeah. Pain with exercise. I guess we have to kind of define what pain is. So there's good pain. You could define it this way. There's good pain and bad pain. When your muscles are burning, you're doing a set of something and you're pushing yourself. Let's say it's curls. I don't know why. Curls are always a good example. And you're doing the set and then you're getting towards the end and you're starting to slow down. The muscles are burning and it's starting to shake. You could call that pain, right? That sensation in the muscles that, it's getting very uncomfortable and you want to stop. That type of pain can be productive.
Oh, we want that. Yeah.
Pushing the muscle to a point of failure or close to it is a good stimulus for growth. And that's fine. So if that's the type of pain you're talking about, I'm okay with it. But if you're talking about a pain that is generally it's in the joints, whether it's your elbow or your knees on a squat, something like that, where it's sharp and maybe there's a catching. That type of pain is something we really don't want to experience during exercise. That's a problem. So that means something's damaged, or you're not doing something right, or maybe it's something your body's not ready for yet. It might be a mobility issue. It could be an injury, could be something chronic like arthritis, or maybe you have some damage from a previous injury, like a torn meniscus, or all these kinds of things, right? But generally, if you feel a pump, a burning from lots of reps in the muscle, it's okay. If you feel pain in the joint, sharp pain, something catching, that's bad. So yeah, you don't want to push through a joint pain when you're lifting. Then you're probably just going to do more damage and set yourself back even farther. So yeah, know the difference. And there comes that comes with experience.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to work out. And if you have somebody that knows what they're doing with you, and you talk to them and you're like, hey, I'm feeling this, they can help you too. Be like, yeah, that's normal.
Right.
Or, oh, that's not normal. You should stop. Work around it. If you do have something that's hurting in a bad way, then you can try something else. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't work out, or you can't even train that joint or that area. There could be another movement option, another exercise you can do to train that area, and it won't bother you at all. The body can be very funny sometimes, especially as we get older, you get more mileage. Certain movements, like on bench press is a great example. Everybody loves bench press, but eventually, I mean, there is a massive pile of shoulder joints in the graveyard of the bench press. Right. The bench press has destroyed so many shoulders, but that doesn't mean you can't train your chest or your shoulders. You just have to find another way to do it. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I don't like bench press because of how it feels on my shoulders. My shoulders have a lot of mileage from years of martial arts and rock climbing. I dislocated this shoulder years ago. So bench press doesn't appeal to me, but I can train push-ups weighted and go as heavy equivalently as I ever did on bench press without any shoulder issue, because it just allows my shoulder to move a little differently and there's no pain. So it's the same thing with, like, if you have a knee injury, if one way of squatting hurts your knee, don't give up on training your lower body. You can find there's so many variations of squats. Just slight changes in your angle and your position can allow you to do that range of motion without the pain. So, and that comes with experience too, or having a coach that can kind of guide you through that process.
Yeah, no, so what we'll say with that one is, while it's technically a myth, as Jared mentioned, there are some things like, as you're straining, as you're pushing yourself, you're going to feel, quote unquote, maybe some pain, right? Just, you got to know your body, and you got to know the difference between an injury and, as Jared said, that catching, or just something in the joint, as opposed to on muscles a little sore. This next one's funny because I've probably been guilty of doing this when I wasn't training, but this whole concept that people will say, oh, I have to eat 6 meals a day, or I have to eat this ridiculous amount of little meals throughout the day while I'm training. And I think really the meals doesn't matter as much as the calories / macros do. That's the where you don't want to eat just one meal a day, but you can do 3 meals and a snack and still be fine. What are your thoughts on that, Jim?
Yeah, definitely. That's again very individual. And there are people, I think they're in the minority, but there are people that have been successful on building muscle or cutting weight, or being overall athletic on eating 1 meal a day. Like, it is possible. But some people are going to be more successful, more fulfilled on 2 meals a day, and some people might be 5 or 6 meals a day. So, that everything, if we're talking about generalities, we look at averages, so the workout recommendations of me saying, 2 days a week of strength training, 2 or 3, and 1 or 2 cardio days, that's kind of like a middle sweet spot. That's kind of the middle of the bell curve. It kind of works for the most people. Nutrition is like that too, where, 3 meals a day is kind of the average. That's why it is what it is. Right. Culturally, we have, breakfast, lunch, dinner typically, but that doesn't mean everybody has to do that. And your lifestyle can affect that dramatically. Like if you're a shift worker and you work nights, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you only eat 2 meals a day. Or if you're somebody with a faster metabolism and a smaller stomach, you might be better off eating smaller, more frequent meals to keep up your energy throughout the day. And day to day, even your meals can change. Like for me personally, I know on days where I don't move as much, I'm more sedentary because of travel, or I just have more office work to do. It's an off day. I'm not training physically. My body does not need nearly as much food. So I might only eat 2 normal meals, or my meals will be smaller. So it depends on your activity level, the phase of training you're in. There's been times where I've been training really hard to, over a short period of time, like a 10-week bulking phase, and I have to eat a shitload of food compared to normal. And, the meals then look very different than when I'm in maintenance or cutting. So it totally depends. So you have to find a meal guide that works for you, or a way of eating. But I think Mark hit it early on when he said it's more about the total calories that you eat, protein and the macros. How you divide that up throughout the day is really up to you.
Yeah, agreed. I think, to Jared's point, I find days where I have maybe a heavy, training session. Sometimes where I feel like I can't get full, right? You're constantly in, as opposed to days where you have a lazy day and I don't do much. Yeah, you're not as hungry. So like everything we've talked about, I think, you really have to feel what's right for you and what's right for your body, and listen to your body, right? If you're hungry, eat. Don't starve yourself, certainly, but just keep an eye on the daily calorie intake and your macros, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, this last one that we came up with, it's kind of a two-part one. The fat burning zone is the most important thing, / the calories burn counter is the all be all and end all. So you hear people say, well, I was on the treadmill today at the gym. It said I burnt 400 calories, so therefore I could go eat a Whopper and I'm net flat for the day.
Right.
Both of those, I think, are myths. I'll let you take let's start with fat burning zone. Is the secret.
Gotcha.
That's the first one.
Yeah. Okay. So the fat burning zone, the idea behind that is based on heart rate and the percentage of calories that you're burning from stored body fat versus stored sugar or glycogen, which can be stored. It's the form of sugar that's stored in your body, either in the muscles or your liver. And I think most of it is in your muscles. The liver can hold a little bit, but again, depending on how much muscle mass you have, like I said earlier, the more muscle mass you have, the more insulin sensitive you are, the more sugar you can store in your body, essentially, because it's in the muscles. So higher intensity activity will use sugar. So if you're sprinting, if you're lifting something really heavy for a couple reps, you're using more sugar. Let me clarify. So if you're lifting something really heavy for a few reps, you're using ATP. You're using this smaller molecule. But if you keep doing that kind of stuff, if you're doing jumping, if you're boxing, something short and intense, you're using stored sugar for that, and then it will be replaced later by fat that's converted into sugar through a process called gluconeogenesis, or it will just be refilled when you eat carbs. So it almost doesn't matter really what type of exercise you do. In a roundabout way, you will end up burning body fat. But it's about, what am I burning right now doing the activity? So if you're doing something slow, like walking, you are predominantly burning fat to do that. You're using the Krebs cycle. You're breathing in and you're using oxygen and you're converting that with the fat into energy to propel you forward. But if you do something really intense, you're using stored sugar, you're using glycogen, but then later you can take the fat and convert it into the sugar. So you burn it later, essentially. So it doesn't really matter. You can do high intensity, you can do low intensity. You will still burn calories and ultimately fat. It's just which fuel system are you emptying first, and then it's going to replace the other one.
Yeah, no.
Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that very well.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. I think the important thing is, again, I think, whether it be an Apple Watch, I wear a Whoop. Some people where you can, your heart rate, you can get that accuracy of where you are, right, as far as it. But I don't think you should be solely married to, hey, I need to stay in zone 1 or zone 2. You see, train, just train. See how it goes. I had fell victim to the calorie counter before. Again, you just got to use some common sense, right? If he says you burn 400 calories, don't go out and eat 400. Don't say I'm at net. I have 400 extra calories to burn. Stick to your calories and just keep working out.
Yeah, one of the big things, I don't know if you knew this, Mark. I think you do, because I think we talked about it. But when you're looking at like a calculator for calories, like on a treadmill, that's only going to be even remotely accurate if you put in all of your metrics before.
Right.
It's basing that off of a calculation using your metrics age, like your age, height, weight, gender even, and that's to guess norms of muscle mass, which affects your BMR, like we talked about earlier. So if it says you burned 400 calories on that run or whatever, that's including your BMR, not just the run. So you might have only burned 100 calories doing that run, and then the other 300 are what your body needed just to maintain itself. So those other 300 you would have burned if you were sitting on the couch.
Yep.
So when you see the 400 on the run, you're like, wow, I burned a lot on the run. Not really.
That's a great point.
You only burned about 100 doing the activity. The rest were just your body keeping itself alive. All of the cellular functions that are going on, the digestion, the cell turnover, growing your hair, like everything else that's just happening automatically. That's where most of the calories are coming from in terms of those calculations.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, there you have it. I mean, that was kind of for everyone. We just wanted to give you some of the myths out there for everyday people who are just getting into fitness. Hope you found it enjoyable. We'll be back next week. If you want to follow Jared, everythingbutthegym.com, Everything But The Gym on Instagram as well, right?
Yep. Yeah. And on YouTube, it's the same thing, Everything But The Gym. So it's the same handle on all platforms.
So we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.